A 7-seater with a broad acknowledgement of its roomy interior, and that's EPA rated at 450 miles of range, will surely get everyone excited. Probably even with a slowing market where everybody who wanted an EV has probably already got one by now. I was thrilled when called up to check Lucid's next best, the Lucid Gravity. Here are my impressions of the pre-production Lucid Gravity that is now available to reserve. But before we get into it, it's important to note that this car will only be available next year and only in the topmost trim that we'll talk about here. The trim presented here too is a pre-production one and it could experience some changes by the time the first one lands with a customer. Access to pre-production models is always limited and understandably so. So I have done my best to bring to you as much of the car as possible. With that understood, let's get into it. Let's first look at the primary specs as we always do. The Gravity is 198 inches in length, 87 inches in width with the mirrors, 65 inches in height, and with a wheelbase of 119 inches. Two trims are currently listed on the Lucid website. The Grand Touring, which we will look at in this video, and for which Lucid is accepting reservations, and the Touring, which should be open for reservations next year. More trims may follow, probably appear going by Lucid's nomenclature. The Lucid configurator is very well designed and you can check it out at your own pace. It details options in color, appearance, interior seating and other preferences. The Gravity has its 5 LED headlight modules with one module placed underneath. That's the main high beam that goes down in the bumper. That's a change from the Lucid Air, which has all 5 modules in a single line alongside each other. The signature Lucid silver trim runs across the hood like the Air, but being an SUV is clearly higher off the ground. The letters spelling Lucid are prominently placed over it. Underneath are the sensors and the safety apparatus with a panel that divides the hood from the body or where the front trunk opens up. Beneath that is the large vent to let the air out and some more sensors in the panel in between. The distance between the windshield to the top of the front wheel appears very small, nearly nil. That improves the aero profile and adds more to the interior room. The front trunk that's not visible here has about 8 cubic feet of storage and a NEMA outlet that's 1.8 kilowatts. It's 3 of them in the car, each with its own inverter. That's 5.4 kilowatts of AC power in all. The front trunk is not very deep, a bit like the Cybertruck, and that shows where the spacious interiors have clawed back space from. On the side, the big body is still optimized for a good aero performance, with a large anodized aluminum trim over the top. The windows look short but surely add to the aero advantage, and the trim alongside the window panes, like in the Air, has surely been taken out in the Gravity for the same, and for a better build quality. The side mirrors are very sturdy and large, that show an eye for the adjacent lane with embedded cameras. That goes with a camera in the B pillars. The Gravity has the rear window and a light trim running across the hatch. The letters Lucid are inscribed stylishly over the trim, and that trim too shapes nicely in the center. That follows an interesting slope down for the rest of the hatch. At the light trim, the hatch bulges out enough to afford good headroom from the inside when the hatch is open. On top is the spoiler that brings the aero-friendly shape. Beneath the hatch is the trim with the turn signals at the corners with a smallish bumper beneath. The space for the number plate appears well carved out on the hatch. The seats you see are from the 6 possible interior options. This one is branded the Tahoe leather. This is a $4,200 option as of now, and the seats are of high quality synthetic leather. The seats have a fixed headrest, adjustable seat belts, and a ventilated cutout at the shoulders, back, seating, and thigh bolsters. Very much designed for the massaging capability that this car would have. The seats appear very comfortable and could probably compare only with the Mercedes EQS and the BMW iX in terms of the comfort on long distances. The legroom is massive, and that's the big factor in comfort. The seats have one of the most unique ways of folding and are all powered. That unique folding mechanism is optimizing upon the large room that's available to this car. For instance, the row 2 seats will push the seating forward on the floor with the press of a button, and the backrest will subsequently fall down. In the row 3, conversely, the backrests are manually unlocked with a small belt that's attached, and they are manually folded to the front. Folding both the rear rows puts the car in a perfect camp mode. Can't wait to try all of this in person as this model has restricted access to the interiors. The Row 2 could offer the tray tables on the back of the front seats, but I'm not sure on that with the US safety laws. Something I cited in my video on the VW ID.Buzz, which too offers it in Europe but was missing in its US release. Those trays double up as rear seat entertainment and can be used with an iPad maybe. It's crazy trying to build something independent here with phones and tablets that people carry anyway and that don't need to be updated by the OEM. Find it smart that way. The back of the center console has a small screen with climate control and probably some ports. The doors have the same vegan leather specific in color to the optioned interior, bordered by an aluminum trim and some hard plastic. The dash has an aluminum trim with a wooden trim that runs across the dash with the vents, interrupted only by the center display. On the top is some soft touch material with another aluminum trim that borders the strip with the ambient lights. The steering wheel appears a small circle. It will take me some time to gather its position until I get used to it. It really feels small and thin like the Cybertruck and may be liked and disliked by some. With circles, users will need to get used to keeping hands in the 3-9 clock position for the most part. I think they are awkward in the hand over hand turns. It would have the two conventional stalks, turn signals on the left and probably headlights on the right. But this needs confirmation. On the steering are some thumb push controls that I can't confirm unless I sit and drive. The center display is the big redesign. The A had the retractable screen in the portrait format. The Gravity gets the fixed position landscape. Surely it reduces manufacturing complexities, but the one on the A was great design and something that will be remembered for long. The 3-screen instrument cluster on the A becomes one single 34-inch display. We'll check those functions when we can. The rearview mirror sits on the single plastic island on the giant windscreen. That windscreen now gets powered sun visors that no more obstruct the view, something that some users complained of in the A with its low height. The center console has glass sitting over what's most certainly some deep storage. There is storage under the armrest that gets its thematic color as optioned, and storage in front of it under the glass cover. This could contain separators for utility, which we obviously can't see here. Under the dash, you see a small cubby to keep small things that don't fall aside. Lucid software has always been designed to look impressive, but I found it to have been totally ignored when it comes to dialing it fully in. It's like it lists everything but nothing that will work seamlessly all the time. That's something that is really the Tesla gold standard. Like for instance its driver assistance. I have driven the A on several occasions and the Dream Drive, which is Lucid's ADAS, has never been fully available. It's either specific to the location or is sometimes simply locked out. So I'm very curious with the Gravity. I won't be surprised that with all the attention on hardware, the software is simply left incomplete. And worse, it'll stay that way, and that's a major fear. The Gravity promises augmented reality and heads-up display functions. I don't expect it to be radically advanced at this point and will be happy to see some meaningful assistance in clear lane marking and turning directions. Hopefully that's dead accurate. I believe the team that's working on the headlights is the same working with the HUD. This I believe is the most promising technology going forward, at least in a world where humans will continue to drive. The Gravity comes with staggered wheels in all its options. The 22 and 23 inch front and rear that you see here, the 20 and 21 inch and the 21 and 22 inch. So the Gravity would not need tire rotation with all the three options and 4 different wheel sizes. The Gravity won't have a winter tire option to start, and that could be important to note in the US market. And I'm not sure of the aftermarket response to a car of this class. This car shows the 265/40 R22 in the front and the 285/35 R23 in the rear. The Lucid Gravity gets air suspension, which was absent from the Lucid Air except probably in a few models of that car. The Gravity will have rear steering and thus delivered through an independent unit. It's manufactured on the same line as the Air, and that should be good economizing. The Gravity will tow 6,000 pounds. The Gravity, I'm told, will come with the NACS port on the driver side rear in the US release, CCS2 in Europe on the driver side front. This pre-production model finds CCS1 on the front like the Lucid Air. The Lucid Gravity can be reserved with a deposit of $1,000, fully refundable up until the time the vehicle enters production, which Lucid promises to notify the customer of, after which it turns non-refundable. The Gravity promises 450 miles of EPA range from its 123 kWh gross battery pack, usable 120 kWh I think. That's an estimated 3.75 miles per kilowatt hour. It'll come with an 80 amp onboard charger that has adjustable amperage. Battery packs are getting larger by the time, and 80 amps could become the norm soon. Installing a circuit rated for 100 amps at home though could be a barrier in average US homes, which most often have a 100 amps full home service. That's caused Ford to curtail the 80 amps capacity in some of the F-150 Lightning trims with poor offtake. You can check my video on the Lucid Air here or via its link in the description. That could provide good reference on the design elements of the Gravity. The AC charger will support bidirectional charging, and that's something I'll try to get separately for you on this channel. The peak DC is cited at 350 kilowatts, and the adequacy of the public DC infrastructure is a whole different topic. 100 kilowatt hour packs are now getting increasingly common, especially in the larger cars, and the charging infrastructure needs to take note. That includes the level 2 plugs available in public spaces as well. The 4 to 8 kilowatt plugs we find today are already feeling inadequate. The Grand Touring would deliver 828 horsepower and 909 pound-feet of torque. That's plenty of performance in a 7-seater 3-row vehicle. If you'd like to see my earliest of impressions of the Tesla Robo-Taxi, you can check that video here or via its link in the description. See you in the next one.